Hello, it's Tiera Thomas. This is my takeaway video for my leadership portfolio. I actually decided to listen to a podcast. It was 61 minutes long, and it was from the website that you recommended. The guest legal officer on the show was Soocher. He was the longtime editor-in-chief of Entertainment Law and Finance, and he's an entertainment attorney. They talked about a lot of different things, including a closed captioning and movies case that was dismissed because there wasn't enough basis. They also talked about a disparaging trademark case, one related to, in a way, the Redskins and how they're going to court for their constitutional rights of calling themselves that, even if it is disparaging. They also talked about a fair use case about the Abbott and Costello skit, Who's on First Routine. They actually lost due to not having proper licensing. So the play that was using that routine got away with using that routine because of their right to fair use. As long as it's transformative use, then you have a right to fair use. So that's the reason why they were able to get away with it. The actual discussion that they talked about was podcasting. And I actually just had a recent encounter with a friend of mine who actually went to Full Sail for Film, and he graduated. He lives in Maryland, and he just started his own podcast, and I was pretty bummed that I couldn't be a part of it, but I already know that I'm going to help him in every way I can. And the podcast on podcasting was very helpful in doing that for me. The 3 takeaways that I took from that discussion, though, however, was to make sure you have a release form. He is going to have a video podcast, and he's going to have artists come on, performers, every creative field in our industry that he could possibly get his hands on, because I know how he is. He needs to have a release form for that, just in case later on down the line that person's like, oh, I don't want you to use that, can you please remove it, and you feel like it's essential to your business and your archives, then signing that release form would just eliminate all of that, because they already released the information and it's no longer, and they don't no longer need their permission to use it anymore. And I think that's very important. Him being very heavy on music, he's going to have several licenses to use music. They talked about using a stock music library to prevent having to deal with licensing issues, but if you want to use other people's music, you have to have a public performance music license, you have to have a mechanical right to download, you have to have a license to use recording and interactive use, and you have to have a synchronization license in order to use visuals along with the music that's not yours. So it's very important to do that so you can avoid any future lawsuits, because they happen a lot in the industry. Excuse me. So I think I can take that and help him do that correctly with what this course is teaching me. And the 3rd takeaway was to be careful about opinions, because the last thing you want is a defamation claim, a defamation lawsuit, or anything that is not what you are trying to intend to do. So they said you either need to be, you're either soliciting or educating, and I feel like an educational podcast is way better than a podcast just trashing people. And he's not like that, so I know he won't have to worry about that. But a lot of people are, and in this industry, people get cocky. And just being able to do a Q&A and interact with your viewers and being able to take the time out to address their issues as well is something that I can tell him to think about including in his show, which we haven't really went into depth about it, but after doing this, listening to this podcast, I know for sure that we will be having this conversation soon. And that's basically it.